Good evening. This is Skip Couch on diverstalk.com. It is Wednesday evening, and it's been real hot here the last couple of days in the high 80s and 90s. Hopefully it's going to let up a little bit, but it should end up warming the water up a little bit for us, so that will be a good thing. We should have a guest on tonight. Sea Woman is what it's called, and they are going up in the Arctic, and they're going to be snorkeling the whole length of the Northwest Passage. Yeah, we got some information on you're going to be snorkeling the Northwest Passage, huh?
That's right.
You hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. I got to turn my. I got to turn it up. Volume. Yeah, volume up. Okay. Good. We're getting organized now. So, how many people are going to be involved in that?
There's 10 women in the team, ranging in age from 26 to 56, from 4 different countries, from the States, Canada, Mexico, and New Zealand.
And where are you based out of?
I'm based out of Calgary, Alberta, home to the Calgary Stampede that starts tomorrow. Yahoo! So I'll be able to take in a bit of the Calgary Stampede before we head to the Arctic next week. Yeah.
Oh wow! Yeah, yeah.
So there's 6 Canadians.
How many other members?
I was just to say there's 6 Canadians, 3 of whom live in Calgary, 2 Americans, 1 Mexican, and 1 New Zealander, a Kiwi. So it's pretty exciting, and in a week we'll be going to the Arctic, and we'll be doing our proof of concept expedition, which is our baby expedition, or our countdown expedition, which is taking a boat from Labrador to Baffin Island and across the Davis Strait to Western Greenland. So that's our warm-up or our proof of concept expedition starting next week.
And how big of a boat do you have that you're using, and how many crews on that boat?
Yeah, we've got a boat. It's 116 feet long. It's normally at a pier in Brooklyn, New York. It's called the MV Cape Race, and it was built originally in Canada as a side trawler, and was purchased by the captain 5 years ago and retrofitted to carry paying passengers. So we're going to be sleeping in what was originally the fish hold, where they stored all the fish, and he's turned it into beautiful and elegant, well-appointed ship's cabins for paying customers now.
Yeah, how'd you come up with this idea to go up there and snorkel the Northwest Passage?
It's a kind of crazy idea in many respects. About 3 years ago, I was listening to a media report about a sailboat, a small sailboat under 50 feet that had navigated the Northwest Passage. And I thought, well, yeah, it's remarkable. It's 3,000 kilometers or just over 2,000 miles, and it's a feat, that's certain. But I thought, well, quite a few sailboats have already gone through already. So, well, what would be really novel, what would be really unique would be to snorkel the Northwest Passage, since I explore the oceans in the snorkel zone. So I came up with the concept that if you could snorkel the Northwest Passage, say from Baffin Island all the way roughly to the Alaska-Canada border, then that's quite a metaphor for disappearing sea ice. So that's what we're going to do in 2 years, and proof of concept in July is going to ensure that we get all the bugs worked out, that the equipment that we've got is the correct equipment, and that the team can start building as a team, because we live in different cities, different countries, different continents.
Yeah, lots of dry suits, I would imagine. And are you going to be looking at any of the wildlife up there, photographing, doing any photographing of the icebergs or?
Oh yes, that's going to be some of the highlights.
Things like that, I guess.
Yeah, there'll be highlights of the trip to hopefully be in the water with polar bears and walrus and bowhead whales, narwhals, and belugas. So if we see whales, we'll be getting in the water, that's for sure. If we see polar bears, we'll probably respectfully keep our distance. But we're going to have people spotting both off the bow of the ship and the Zodiacs to make sure that we don't come face to face with polar bears while we're swimming. We're going to be also
yeah, they think you're lunch.
Well, yeah, you know, I don't know. Well, many polar bears have not seen snorkelers in the water, so, you know, I'm not sure what they'll think we are. Maybe large seals. We're going to be wearing Santi's latest dry suit line for women called Ladies First. And the tag for Santi is Extend Your Limits. So it really, really applies to us because these heated suits, electrically heated undergarments, we've got vests, we've got the heated suits, and we've got the heated gloves, are going to keep us incredibly warm in the water. And when we snorkel, we're not actually dog paddling, if you will. We're actually going to be using diver propulsion vehicles or scooters. And so if we're going through the water at 3 to 5 kilometers per hour, upwards of, say, 3 miles per hour, we're going to get cold. So these Santi dry suits are going to keep us incredibly warm. And I think our faces are going to suffer somewhat. And we've got double thick hoods from Santi, which are 10 millimeters with a very small face opening. So hopefully we're going to survive being in the water for one hour at a time, I think.
And the scooters probably will last about an hour and then they'll run down. How long is it going to take you and to do this whole snorkeling trip? And how are you funding it too?
Yeah. Well, let's start with the scooters. The scooters that we've got are probably going to last 120 to 150 minutes. We've got the Dive Extra CUDA 400s. We've got 5 of them. And I think that these scooters will last a little bit longer in cold water, but we've got double batteries for each scooter, so we'll be charging batteries on the boat while we're using the scooters in the water. We'd like to get lithium-ion batteries in the future for these scooters, because if you put a lithium-ion battery in one of these CUDA 400s, it becomes their 1150 model with about 600 minutes of run time. So in the future, we'll probably have some lithium batteries with us. So the process of snorkeling with the scooters is just like a swimming relay. We'll have one woman in the water, one woman out. So we'll have 2 Zodiacs shuttling snorkelers back and forth. We'll have the scooters in the water, and the women will just do a relay, if you will, hopefully going a full hour and then swapping out another woman. And we'll go 24/7, and that's how we're going to snorkel the Northwest Passage. 3,000 kilometers. We're going to go 24/7 with 100% daylight in the Arctic in the summer, and as the days wane in terms of light conditions, we'll reduce the number of hours that we snorkel daily. The question, how are we funding it? Good question. We're actually in the hole right now. We need to raise about $75,000, and we're going to start an Indiegogo Kickstarter campaign fairly soon, and we'll broadcast that to the diving community because we've got a lot of diving goodies that have been donated by the dive manufacturers who are supporting us. We'll launch that next week. We've been reaching out to friends and family, corporations, organizations, and we've got we've raised a lot of money with respect to gear and equipment. Incredible amount of gear and equipment, because one of the tags I'm using on Facebook now is Girls with Gear, because we have so much gear that is going to be we'll need 3 aircraft flights to get it to Labrador. It won't come with us because we're flying in a Twin Otter aircraft that cannot take all of our gear. So we're fundraising through corporations, and then crowdsourcing, which starts next week. And in the olden days, 100 years ago, Sir Ernest Shackleton was still fundraising when he was on his way to Antarctica. He was fundraising in behind the scenes. He actually didn't take his ship all the way to South America. He was in the United States and elsewhere raising money, and then caught up to his boat. And when Roald Amundsen went through the Northwest Passage in 1903, he had unpaid bills, and they knew if they missed the window of opportunity, they wouldn't get through the passage that year. So they took off in the middle of the night and didn't pay their bills, and he was the first person to cross the Northwest Passage by boat. But we're going to pay our bills. We're not going to sneak off in the middle of the night here. So we're aggressively fundraising, and as I say to the women, we don't stop fundraising. We fundraise while we're on the boat. We tell the world what we're doing, and we continue to fundraise. So we're in the hole, but I'm sure we'll get out of the hole while we're on the expedition. It's a $500,000.
Are you going to be able?
Pardon me?
Are you going to be able to broadcast from the boat during the time you're up there?
No, I think that the live broadcasting is just a little bit too much for the ship's internet system, unfortunately. But we're going to be blogging daily. We're going to be uploading photographs, maybe small video clips. It's possible. But in the Arctic, there are very few satellites, and the bandwidth is not great. So we'll be downloading video images when we're on. For example, when we get to Greenland, after we finish our expedition, we'll we'll upload video then. We'll be uploading video in Newfoundland. We start the expedition in Newfoundland and St. John's on the 10th of July with a press conference, a presentation to young girls aged 16 and 17 who are enrolled in a science engineering camp. And then we will be working for 2 or 3 days in Labrador before we get on the boat, working with Inuit kids on science research, ocean conservation studies and such. So we'll be broadcasting from there before we actually get on the boat. Once we're on the boat, it's probably all guns going and get in the water and snorkel as far and as fast as we can to prove to future sponsors that we can snorkel 3,000 kilometers of the Northwest Passage.
Very interesting. Very interesting. And maybe after you get done with your project, maybe we can have you back on again, talk about how it went, what went wrong, what didn't go wrong, and how the equipment acted and responded to you, and what have you.
And to minus
That'd
2
be
Celsius
interesting.
water. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to tell you how things work out. We're really optimistic that the equipment is going to perform well for us, that the team is ready, and we're very excited to be the first team of any type of snorkelers to do snorkel relays in the Arctic. So thank you for your interest.
Yeah. The other thing is, do you have a place to send if anybody wants to donate, to send money to you at this time, or you haven't kicked it off yet?
Well, once we kick off the Indiegogo site next week, people will be able to send money there, and we'll get in touch with you and let you know what the website is. It's a crowdsourcing platform that's quite popular now, and we've got lots of dive goodies for perks too, so people can buy mask fin snorkel, dive computers, dive watches, things like that, that actually have been donated to us by our sponsors who've been very generous. So I'll get in touch with you next week and let you know what the website link is. We're moving.
Yeah, well, we'll put it on our website. We'll put it on our website so that you can have some advertisement there, and maybe we'll get some help for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your interest, and as I was telling Scott earlier, we've got a woman from New York City on the team, and she's an investment banker from New York City, so she's helping us raise money too, and we've got an amazing, incredible team of women that you'll see unfold during the next 3 weeks, all the things that, the skill sets that they bring to the table. Thanks so much.
You're very welcome, and we're really interested in anything that goes on in the diving world. This is snorkeling, but it's still part of the diving world, and we really enjoy hearing about this, and kind of incredible, actually, as far as I can see. I've used wet or dry suits in a lot of areas, and it still gets cold.
It gets cold. You know, the interesting thing is that we'll be diving too. The boat is equipped for the first time to take divers, so we have tanks on board for everyone and 2 dive masters on the boat, because the underwater movie makers are going to be they're going to be diving while we're snorkeling above, and they're going to be filming underwater so that we get amazing underwater footage of what we're doing. And we've got a team of 2 media people above water, 2 media people below water. So we will be diving when we see amazing icebergs or ice formations. We'll be jumping in the water to dive as well.
Yeah, and how's the publicity for the news media? Have you got a lot of that yet, or are you going to do that next week?
No, we've been actually getting calls for the last 6 months, because I announced the expedition in September of 2013 at an Explorers Club meeting, and I'm a member of the Explorers Club, and 6 of us and the team of 10 women are either members or fellows of the Explorers Club, and there's a lot of chat about this expedition, not only because it's unique in terms of its activities and tracing the route of the explorers 100 years ago, which was the first crossing of the Northwest Passage, but because it's a team of all women. And people have said to me, why is it a team of all women? Why aren't men allowed on the trip? And I said, well, men aren't necessarily not allowed, because 2 of our above water TV guys are men. But the team of 10 women is unique in the exploration world, because we all come from the expedition world, and we've all gone on expeditions to Antarctica and around the world, but we've always been part of a mixed team. But this is pretty unique for a team of women going to the pole. Well, we're not really going to the North Pole, but at least to polar areas. So it's a team of 10 women, and all highly skilled, and we're going to have a lot of fun. On top of everything else, we're going to have a lot of fun.
I believe you're going to have a lot of fun, and I don't see any reason why women shouldn't do this. I think they're just as skilled as men, maybe even more so. Uh, I'm just amazed at the attempt of it. That's all, because I know how cold that's going to be.
It's cold, and if you have a moment, I'll tell you about our team, actually, very quickly. We have a submersible pilot. She's the youngest woman in the team, and she flies a sub down to 2,000 feet. She's 26 in the National Geographic Young Explorer, and she's also a ROV pilot. So we're bringing two remotely operated vehicles to the Arctic with us to do some oceanographic research. We have 3 marine biologists. 2 of them are from the west coast of Canada, and the third one is from New Zealand. But that New Zealander, apart from being a marine biologist, is also a lawyer with a background in climate change and sustainability. Then we have 2 underwater movie makers, 1 American, 1 Canadian, who are top-notch in terms of underwater or dive films, underwater world. We have a medical doctor who is a hyperbaric specialist. She runs one of the hyperbaric chambers in Calgary here. So we've got an expedition physician who's a dive doctor, which is really important. We have a woman who owns a dive shop in Calgary, probably the biggest dive shop in Canada, even though it sits on the prairies. She's certified 12,000 divers in the last 20 years, so she's on the team. We just, I mean, there's 10 of us, and every once in a while I have a hard time. And I'm an earth scientist by profession and a journalist, so I'll be blogging and doing news reports as well, and looking at rocks when we go ashore, collecting samples, if you will, and looking at surface morphology and geomorphology and how things work in the Arctic. So then we have the investment banker from New York as well. So I think that's the team of 10. It's hard to keep track of everyone because everyone is just so talented and so impressive. And it's just a really exciting time for this group of 10 women. And the sponsorship with Santi and Sunto and Nanook and Oceanic and Aqualung and Atomic and Naui and I should have the list in front of me. We have about 20 sponsors right now, so it's amazing.
Well, I'm impressed with the quality of people that you've got. It sounds like you've got everything laid out pretty good, and it looks like you shouldn't have a lot of problems with the team that you've got. They're just it's just fascinating that somebody is going to try this, and I'm sure it's going to happen, and it's going to happen real good, and you're going to have very good success, and we can't wait to see the end of it, see how you actually made out.
Thank you. Yeah, we're excited, and it's just a countdown that we've got to finish the website, get the crowdsourcing platform up, pack our bags, fundraise, and get out the door in the next 5 days. Just a few minor details to take care of.
Yeah, nothing to it. Nothing to it whatsoever.
I've given up sleeping. It's just a recreational activity at this moment for me. I don't sleep right now. I think the hardest part is to get everything put together and to get to where we're going. And after that, I think it's just going to be amazing. We're working on team building exercises right now too, and how we're going to gel as a team, since we've not all worked before either together. And the TV crew is pitching our story to networks as we're going on to the ship, because again, this is a pretty unique endeavor, and if we snorkel the Northwest Passage, which I fully believe we will, then we hope to make a television series as we go through the passage, and that will take 100 days from, say, July 1st to October 1st in 2016. And then that will make the fundraising for this $500,000 expedition look like peanuts, because that expedition will be well over $2 million to do that big expedition. So once we prove we can do it, then we've got a whole lot more work to do after that. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to your news interview when you come on with the networks and what have you, because I'm sure that they'll cover it real well.
Yeah, we're going to do interviews too in Spanish and French and English, because we've got a French Canadian on board the expedition. She can do the French interviews, and then a Latin representative too, so that we can capture the interest and imagination of French Canadians and people from Latin America and Spain and France even. So we hope to do trilingual interviews to really broadcast what we're doing to the world.
It sounds like you're going to have a lot of fun too on the whole journey. I think, anyways.
Yeah, it's interesting too. You know, we're looking at unique equipment that we need to take, and the company called Shark Shield has just donated a shark shield for us to take on the trip. And a lot of the girls were saying, well, what about those Greenland sharks? They're just as big as great whites, and they kill small whales, you know, for a living. So what about Greenland sharks? I said, well, not too many people know about Greenland sharks because normally they don't snorkel or dive in Greenland shark territory. So we're going to be wearing one of these shark shields around our ankles, so the snorkeler will be in the water trailing an electric cable probably 10 to 12 feet behind her, and it will electrify the water around her. So it'll create a 3D electrical bubble, if you will. And so we're going to test it out to see how it works, whether we see any Greenland sharks or not. They're pretty vicious looking. They've got a lot of teeth, and they're just as big as a great white. They're probably not going to bother us, but we just thought we'd try one out for size, for a measure, and see how it works. We'll probably electrocute people in the Zodiac if you forget to turn them off, because you've got to turn them off before anyone touches you and you try to get out of the water. So that probably the biggest casualty will be people handling us and our scooters as we're getting out of the water. But so that's one piece of equipment we're taking. Obviously, we're taking Nautilus lifelines with us because if one of the women gets lost in ice and we can't see her, she can send out that emergency signal right away, and then we'll be able to find her. So it's a really important piece of equipment. Each woman will have a marine radio with the GPS and the emergency signaling in it. I think just our dry suits, which are exceptional for the Arctic environment, our hoods that are 10 millimeters thick, thickest that are made in the industry, our heated gloves. We're just going to bundle up really well. So it's going to be pretty interesting because some of the women have never been to the Arctic before, and yet they're used to diving in cold water, and they're cave divers. So I think it will be quite an awakening for them to get into -2 Celsius waters when you have ice around you. It'll be quite cold. But
Oh yeah.
those are our challenges.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I think you've got a lot to do, so I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I think we've covered everything on it, and we'll be looking forward to you when you get done with this trip to come back and talk to us again and maybe show us some pictures.
Well,
And it was nice talking to you, and good luck.
good luck.
And this is Skip Couch at diverstalk.com signing off.
When a pirate named Bill Johnston